before you tonight to thank you for this opportunity to serve our community. Please grant us wisdom and guidance as we begin this meeting. Grant this council clarity and integrity in our decision-making and the courage to do what is right for all of our citizens. Help us to listen intently, speak with honesty, and work together. May all of our actions be guided by a commitment to justice, fairness, and compassion, for we ask this in your holy name. Amen. Please be seated. Okay, item number 4. Council, you should have received your information packet by now. So we'll move on to item number 5, approval of agenda. Council, are there any suggested or recommended changes at this time? And I need a motion.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Okay. Item number 6, approval of meeting minutes. 6A, approval of the 26-27 budget presentation, minutes of the May 11th. And 6B, approval of regular minutes on May 11th. Do I have a motion?
I actually have was that just the budget presentation, correct? That wasn't the prior,
Correct.
okay, never, that's so moved.
Okay, all right. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor, please raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Did I get? Oh, okay. Motion passes. Thank you. All right, we have no presentations tonight, so we'll move right on to the scheduled public hearings. Item number 8A. Item 8A, FY 26-27 budget hearing and ordinance adoption includes these items. 8A1, adoption of the FY 26-27 fee schedules. 8A2, adoption of the FY 26-27 general fund capital improvement plan. 8A3, adoption of the FY 26-27 utility capital improvement plan. 8A4, adoption of the budget ordinance. 8A5, adoption of the amended personnel policy, and 8A6, adoption of the pay and classification plan. I now call this public hearing to order. Since this is a public hearing, I will declare this meeting now open for public comment. Members of the community wishing to speak must approach the lectern, state their name and address for the record, and limit their comments to 5 minutes. All remarks must be addressed directly to the chair, maintain a courteous tone, and be confined strictly to the merits of the pending matter. At this time, I will ask those in the audience wishing to speak, please raise your hand or step forward so you can be recognized. Good evening.
Good evening. Glenn Harvey, 801 Michael Avenue, Valdese. Mr. Mayor and Council, here are 4 good news budget items that everyone attending or watching needs to know about. First, it is not only okay to speak up and ask questions, but a Saturday's local newspaper editorial stated it's our civic responsibility to do so. This year marks the first time the annual budget hearing has been moved up from June to May. Still, that provides more time than ever to revise it, thanks to the North Carolina legislature. They made this hearing before adoption mandatory to enable citizens to participate in the budget process. The 11th hour was not on May 18th. It is not tonight. Our North Carolina legislature designated July 1, 11 p.m. as the 11th hour for revising and adopting the annual budget and tax rate. Even then, if there's a compelling reason to defer adoption, such as waiting for final costs of a multi-million-dollar project, there are provisions to delay the budget approval until essential information is available. Finally, no missing information is needed to adopt this budget by July 1st. If you all reviewed the proposed budget, you realize that there are virtually no expenses in this budget associated with the new public safety building. Last week, the town manager explained that the 31% tax hike was intended to influence the local government commission to approve the $10.8 million debt for a project on which we do not yet know the total cost. The future cost is unknown because this council has never heard directly from the general contractor it hired. This council never heard a presentation from the contractor and never requested an estimate from the general contractor. Yet, the council unanimously hired the contractor to proceed with this final construction plans and a contract for a guaranteed maximum cost, and even that guaranteed maximum cost may be subject to changes for contingencies.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, I'm Michael Ferris. I live at 112 Phillip Avenue in Valdese. Just like to make a few comments about a couple of things that are important to me as it pertains to this topic. Before doing so, however, I must acknowledge that I, like most citizens, never like to see our everyday expenses increase. Whether that be gas, groceries, utilities, phone bills, none of it. I do recognize, however, that in order to maintain the standard of living that we have come to expect, then we have to pay for that. Nothing is free. We have a place here in Valdese that is steeped in history. That history has led to a community that is proud of its roots, where it has been, where it is, and where it is going. A large part of that comes down to the hard work of our town employees. From the people that do the daily tasks here at Town Hall, to the ladies and gentlemen that maintain our streets by watering the flowers, putting up the decorations during the holidays, to our public safety and police officials, fire department employees, and the people that work in our town's tourism department. I was recently in a presentation that was informative and stated that around 400 people from out of the local zip codes, on average, visit our local parks each weekend. All of those people that visit our town bring in revenue to the town. Each of these individuals adds value to the town, the ones I mentioned earlier. It would be a great disservice to our town if we didn't value them with more than just a thank you. These individuals are grossly underpaid. Like I stated earlier, I only support an increase in cost if it adds value. If we don't give these people an increase in pay, we will kick off the first domino in a line of dominoes that will most likely plague Valdese or plunge Valdese into a spiral that from which will be very difficult to recover. What is to keep people in a position where they aren't compensated fairly for their time and efforts? If our tourism people leave, we will suffer. If our police officers aren't compensated fairly, we will suffer. What is to keep them from going to other local municipalities where they can be paid more for less responsibility and less area to cover? It's no secret that the town of Drexel offers a much higher pay for those employees, and they don't have to relocate. They can stay in their homes and do the same job for more money. I don't know that many of us would pass that up. I have lived in communities that have made these same mistakes in the past. I lived in Durham when they finally revamped their downtown area, and I lived in Morganton as they began their revitalization project of downtown. Both of these communities struggled mightily due to the short-sightedness that it took, and it took both of them much longer to recover than was anticipated. That would be a grave mistake if Valdese were to follow suit. 2024 gave us an estimate of just over $7 million for a police and fire building. Now that number is north of $10 million. Where does it stop? Do we really think that it's going to be cheaper the longer we keep kicking this can down the road? We all know the answer to that question. Please, I ask you to do the right thing for the long-term future of our town, and not the short-term approval for folks that most of us who would only save a couple $100 in annual tax revenue. Are our people and our town not worth it? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, you're next.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Diane Hamby, and I live here in Valdese at 801 Orchard Street. And I'm here tonight to speak in support of our police department, not just my opinion, but from personal experience. On December 19th, 2025, in the middle of the day, I was a victim of a violent assault. It was the most terrifying experience of my life. In a matter of seconds, everything changed, and I truly did not know if I would survive. But our police department responded immediately. It seemed like they arrived instantly. They secured my safety, they located my stolen vehicle, and they took the individual responsible into custody within minutes. During the arrest, that individual rammed 3 separate police vehicles while trying to escape. Those officers willingly put themselves in danger to protect me and protect our community. What impacted me the most was not only their professionalism, but their compassion. The chief of police personally came to the hospital to speak with me. He stayed there with me. He waited as the hospital provided the care I needed. The chief assured me that he would make sure I was safe, and he did. Afterwards, officers continued to follow up with me, collecting evidence, checking on my well-being, and making sure I felt safe during one of the hardest times of my life. As court proceedings moved forward, the police continued standing by me. They testified to the facts, they worked with the district attorney's office, and made sure my voice as a victim was heard and respected throughout the process. Before this happened to me, I think I viewed the police, as many people do, as simply part of the background of everyday life. We see patrol cars, uniforms, and flashing lights, but we rarely stop to think about what those officers truly mean to our community until the moment we desperately need them. I needed them, and they were there. Not everyone experiences violent crime, but it can happen anywhere, even in a small town like Valdese. When it does happen, we depend on the men and women willing to run toward danger while everyone else is trying to escape it. Because of what I experienced, I no longer see our police department as strangers in uniform. I see human beings who chose a difficult and dangerous profession to serve and protect others. I see people who cared about my safety, my recovery, and my future. The Valdese Police Department is essential to this town. The service they provide cannot be replaced. I would no longer feel like Valdese is the safe small town that it is today without our police department. They deserve our respect, our appreciation, and the proper tools, facilities, and support needed to continue to do their job safely and effectively. Tonight, I want to publicly say thank you to the officers who protected me when I was vulnerable. Thank you for your courage, your sacrifice, and your service to our town. And thank you all for your time.
Thank you. Please hold the applause down. Next, please.
My name is Cheryl McCarthy. I live at 205 Laurel Street, Southeast. I'm here tonight to also speak concerning the Valdese Police Department. On December 22nd, 2024, I was taking a walk in the early afternoon on Main Street. It was a beautiful day, and I passed other people walking and running, and we said Merry Christmas to each other. I continued my walk east. I walked past Jack B. Quick. I turned right on Eldridge. past Twin Brothers. Shortly down Eldridge, I heard a young man's voice say, "Ma'am, ma'am." And he said he needed directions. He was behind me. I turned, and he pulled out a 8-inch knife above his head and lunged at me, and he tried to kill me. He wanted to kill me. I'm not going to recount all the details of his attacks. Suffice it to say, I'll have those scars for the rest of my life. I survived because I fought and because God sent a man named Daniel Peacock, a wonderful man who put his own life in danger to help me. I have not publicly spoken to a group about this except in court. I put nothing on social media. But I believe I need to be here today because I want you to know what Valdese Police Department did that day and for weeks and months afterward. After Daniel came to my aid, my attacker dropped the bloody knife in the street and ran. We immediately called 911. The officers were there in minutes. This is a Sunday afternoon. They were there in minutes. They made sure I was getting the help I needed. They got the knife, secured the knife. People had come running because I was screaming. They saw him running away. They had to interview them. And they were patrolling the streets trying to find this person. He's on the run. And there were enough officers that day, by the grace of God, to be going around this neighborhood trying to find him. I'm just so glad there were officers there. He made it known later on in court he was looking for someone to kill. He was literally driving up and down the street. He was not homeless. He was not poorly dressed. He was not a vagrant. He had an address here. He was nicely dressed like my 20-year-old grandson would have been. During the hours and months and days that followed, Valdese Police Department went above and beyond to help me and my family. That day, Chief Sharp called SBI and asked if a female officer would come and speak with me. And she came that night. I found that very comforting to talk with her. In addition, Chief Sharp, now they're going up and down the street the whole time, getting every bit of video cameras they can, coverage. They're having to collect this evidence. They had a piece of evidence of him running, the attacker leaving in his car, and they had the FBI, Chief Sharp called the FBI to help them clean that up. And as soon as that picture was cleared up, he made that available to the public so everyone would know. They would be well informed that this person was dangerous. Officer Marlowe interviewed me, and he continued to be a support for me. He came to my home to take my DNA as part of this case. He gave me his direct number to call. That was just priceless to me. He didn't have to do that, but he did. The department collected all the evidence, the knife, the shoes, his clothes with my DNA on his clothing, his computer. There is video, there is full video of this attack. And they have that. They have witness statements. They did all of this work during the Christmas holidays. I was attacked on the 22nd. Chief Sharp did not leave his post for 3 days as he and his officers did this investigation. He missed holidays, time with his family. After my attacker was in custody, Chief Sharp and Officer Marlowe worked with the DA to ask for the grand jury to convene because they didn't want him out on bail. I wouldn't want him out on bail. They did. They got a grand jury convened. They had all this evidence. They did an indictment. He was never out of custody. He never got out on bail. Recovery is hard, but I'm making it. But I want you to know that the Valdese Police Department is wonderful, and they are very professional. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Amen to the quality, I'm Robert Stevenson, 1009 Creekside Drive Northeast. Amen to the ineptness and the greatness of our police department and our fire department. But I just wanted to remind the the council that the Valdese citizens in the last election voted 70% to show solid disapproval of the ideology of the previous regime. That was the largest margin of victory for all 4 seats ever in Valdese election. I urge you to listen to the vast majority of our citizens in regard to immediate need for a public safety building, proper pay for all our great employees here in Valdese, and a desire for reasonable amenities that's made our town a step above other towns of its size. Our citizens want a safe environment that has been made possible by our outstanding fire and police departments. But this does not come without cost. The last regime first told us that the old public safety building could be repaired to suit our needs. This was simply untrue and a waste of a lot of time. Then they shunned the acting on the plan of the new building already in place with a considerably lower interest rates than now. This delay cost Valdese several $1 million. And more delays like doing more studies and so forth will definitely cost us more money to no avail. Time is money on the public safety building project. Let's get on with it as quickly as possible. Also, our town employees on all levels need to be fairly compensated. We have fallen behind in this regard and amends need to be made. We will end up losing valuable employees if we continue to pay less than surrounding small communities. Be fair to our employees who make our town great. And as for the tax rate, the tax cut implemented in the last 2 years is obviously unsustainable and has set us back financially. The same thing happened on the county level several years ago. A person closely involved in the process told me it took 10 years to bring the general fund back to its necessary level. Unfortunately, we're now in a similar situation. We must return our tax rate to at least the previous level to allow our town to operate properly with proper facilities. This is actually just a reset of what it was. I feel that my Valdese taxes give me more tangible results than any other taxes I pay. Also, having a great little town is what makes people want to move here, build new homes, which will continue to increase our tax revenue in the future. I urge the council members to be decisive and vote yes on our present budget to help Valdese get back on the right foot again. The majority of our citizens are with you to keep Valdese moving forward in a position of excellence. Don't let us down.
Thank you. Next.
Good evening, council, mayor. It's good to see everyone, members of the community. My name is Jason Wisnut. I'm a 20-year resident of Valdese at 404 Italy Street Northeast, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight in support of constructing a new public safety building for our police and fire departments. What I'll be speaking about is my perspective of being a 30-year public safety officer and as also a retired chief as my last few years. But this discussion really tonight is bigger than bricks, it's bigger than concrete, it's bigger than square footage, and bigger than the 10 million plus-ish price tag that's gonna be tied to this thing. We all know that it's gonna be expensive, but tonight is really about being prepared. It's about public safety, it's about the kind of community that we want to leave for our next generation. Every day, our firefighters and police officers are asked to respond to emergencies under difficult and unpredictable conditions. They are expected to protect lives and preserve property and respond to serious wrecks and serve the community at a moment's notice. We've heard several examples of that very thing tonight. Yet many of the facilities they work from were built from an era before modern equipment, for increased staffing demands and updated technology, and today's safety standards that are regulated by the industry, the fire and police. The possible and existing buildings that a police and fire department could have been placed in through our exploration, we realized then that they are from the same era that our current buildings are from and are not sustainable, requiring substantial upfitting and likely missing the mark of our investment for a long-term investment. A new public safety building is not a luxury project, folks. It is critical infrastructure for us, for the residents of this town. Modern fire and police facilities, they do improve emergency response coordination. They provide safer working conditions for first responders. They create room, valuable room for training, equipment, evidence storage, and ensuring that our departments can continue serving our community effectively. When seconds matter during a heart attack or a structure fire, or a violent crime or an emergency, the quality and functionality of these facilities are front and center, and they have direct impact on outcomes. Also want to acknowledge something that is very important, that projects like this do in fact cost money, a lot of money indeed. And supporting this building means recognizing that taxes are gonna have to be raised. I feel like they probably never should have been lowered in the first place as a taxpayer, but it is what it is, and here we are today having to reel with that. No one enjoys paying higher taxes, I get that. I certainly don't, but I believe most residents understand the difference between unnecessary spending and essential investment in our community. I believe in supporting our town employees as well by implementing this pay study. Implement it fully and pay these guys and gals what they're worth and what they deserve for the services they provide to us every day. And also by providing them the tools they need to be successful. And guess what? A building is in fact a tool. We already expect our officers and firefighters to show up for us on our worst days. The question before you tonight is, are you willing to show up for them before that day comes? The cost of doing nothing also deserves consideration. We have delayed infrastructure projects, and we know that that leads to higher cost. When we were trying to build a fire station in Morganton, they gave us an ish. There was no set fee to that. It was just 10 million-ish is what it was gonna cost. Understanding that those prices go up. The school board is currently dealing with that as well over a land issue that they're gonna have to tag on additional money to that. But we know that delaying these projects and increased maintenance and expenses, outdated facilities, and just straight up operational inefficiencies. And guess what? Eventually, we're gonna pay for that either way. We're either gonna pay for it now proactively with a plan, or we're gonna pay for it reactively during a crisis when it does in fact hit the fan. This investment is about long-term responsibility, and a well-designed public safety building today can serve this city for 40, 50, heck, maybe even 60 years into the future. Our residents, businesses, and families will benefit from the decisions that will be made in this room tonight and in the future. Strong public safety systems also strengthen economic development. Businesses and families look for communities with reliable emergency services, modern infrastructure, and stable leadership. Investing in public safety is investing in the future growth and confidence in Valdese. So I want to encourage the council to move forward with this project, to move forward with courage, with transparency, and fiscal responsibility. You have to be honest with citizens about what this is going to cost, if you know it. And sometimes there are just things we don't know right yet. Explain the long-term benefits clearly, and let's build something that this town can be proud of. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Daniel Cobb. I live at 1153 Guardial Avenue. I'm a resident here in Valdese, obviously. I'm also the town manager in Granite Falls. I'm here tonight in the capacity of a resident who happens to be a town manager to relay my opinion of your proposed budget and to say that the numbers are what the numbers are. Your manager and I spoke several months ago when he first started doing the math on what the budget was going to look like this year. And sometimes the numbers are what they are, and I can assure you that he's looked for everything. We sat down together. He reached out as a resident, to me as a resident and a manager to figure out if there's another option. Because I can assure you as a manager, the last thing I want to do is recommend a tax increase. But sometimes that is the answer. Tax increase is your most reliable source of income. It's your most dependable way to pay for things. And in terms of the LGC, that's what they want to see. They want to see that you've got a way to pay back whatever it is that you're going to borrow to build whatever it is that you're going to build. For what it's worth, you're not alone. In Granite Falls, we have the same situation. Our fire department was built in 1967. It is not in terrible condition, but it is not in great condition either. It's too small. We are at capacity. We're having trouble securing vehicles that will fit in there. So we're actively in the process of hiring a construction firm to build us a new fire station. Looking at buying some property next month to make that happen. I also recommended a tax increase in Granite Falls of a penny to help pay for fire service, because again, after doing the math on the revenues and expenditures, that's what the numbers said. We needed to raise taxes. So that was my recommendation to the board. I don't know where that's going to go yet. We have a workshop scheduled for next week, and we'll get into that with the full board. But in summary, I think what you've heard tonight has been fairly strong support for what you need to do this evening. I don't envy the position that you're in, but I completely understand it. And I think the right call is in front of you, and good luck with that. And thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you. Next.
Mr. Mayor, council, and staff, good evening. I'm Tim Skidmore, 312 Becker Avenue, Valdese. I'm a lifetime Valdese resident, former council member of Ward 5. I come before you tonight to voice my concerns, observations, and hopefully words of encouragement on the issues that are before council and our community. Our town is facing a list of difficult choices, most of them not acceptable to many, as everyone will have to give up something. The public safety building has been on the council's agenda for quite some time, in some form or another or location. Because of external pushbacks and political delays, it has come to where we are at present. Now the costs have risen to the point of causing a budget crisis. There is no doubt that this building has to be built. The town's fire and police cannot continue to operate in this manner. There is no alternative. The citizens of this town that I talk to demand that it be built. Our police and firemen deserve a better working environment. The town has an investment of millions of dollars of equipment in jeopardy. The center building of the existing public safety building is over 100 years old. The newer wing sadly is unsafe and condemned. We have come a long way from that first wooden shack down beside the railroad tracks that was used as a jail. We're out of time. There are no viable alternatives. The use of county deputies or county fire departments is not feasible for Valdese. These were eliminated as a possibility years ago and are not doable. But it seems that is where we are headed if this budget is not approved. Response times of 30 minutes or more can be expected. I've seen it happen in my own family when my daughter, who lives in Ickard, prowlers broke into her car. It took the sheriff's department more than 30 minutes to respond. Of course, the culprits were long gone by then. They're just spread too thin. How can they take on more? The same can be said of fire protection. How will people like their fire insurance going up? That would be more than offset by a tax increase. There is a question about pay. This must be addressed now. These people risk their lives to protect us. It is imperative that the pay study be completed, that an equitable pay scale for our police and firemen of our town be established. The time for debate over minutia is over. How do we pay for it? The funds must be found. I don't think that cuts in recreation are the answer. That is stealing from the town's future, and for years has been the heart of Valdese. These programs attract people to Valdese with children. Many programs offered are for all ages of folks and should be taken advantage of. Last Monday night, as I attended the Valdese Sports Hall of Fame induction, there was one theme that ran through all of those that were honored. All had come up through the rec sports at Valdese. All had successful careers and made major contributions to their communities. Besides the obvious health benefits, sports builds discipline, character, and confidence. Sometimes there are things you just can't put a dollar sign on. To those that say they can't do any more, I leave you with this thought. I was having this very conversation with my mother 2 months ago. She had just turned 98. I asked her about paying more taxes, and she told me that nobody likes paying more taxes. Of course, who does? When it's for the common good, such as our safety and our children, she was willing to do her civic duty. She has since passed away. It struck me that she used a term I had not heard in a while, civic duty. Maybe that is something we have lost sight of in Valdese, and our civic duty is to pass this budget, build the public safety building, and not cut the heart out of Valdese doing it. Thank you.
Next.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor
Good evening.
and council members. My name is Sandy Walker. My address is 124 Main Street West, downtown Valdese. I'm the owner of Dolls and Designs by Sandy, the largest porcelain doll making business in North Carolina. And that's nothing to laugh about. That tells you that I have a background in how to work with money. I started in a 10x10 part of my garage, and I have the largest doll making business in the state now. So I know a little bit about making money and being conservative in what you're doing. I've looked at the budgets that we've had for the past 4 years, and on the 22-23 budget, the amount was $12,444,500. The 23-24 budget was $13,375,607. The 24-25 budget was $14,463,192. The 25-26 budget, $17,647,861. Now, I've been hearing that we've been having to cut. Well, if we're cutting, how come we're spending more money? That's a $5 million increase in 4 years. And I don't have the totals in front of me for the proposed budget now. But I just don't understand if we're in such dire straits, where's all this money gone? What's happened to it? I have a proposal for the budget that you have, that you're looking at, something that's very simple and very equitable to everyone. And I've looked at I've got the budget numbers here from 25-26 and what you're proposing, and I propose a 10% reduction in each department. And if you look at that, that's less than the proposals that's less than what the proposals are for this budget that you're getting ready to vote on. There have been so many discussions about what to do, how to do, why to do. 10% is good enough for God, guys. Why isn't it good enough for our council and our citizens? And I would like to remind everyone that the elected people, the staff, work for us people that make the businesses and have everything, own the property, and pay the bills. So how about giving us a little bit of consideration? And let me tell you what, guys, I have fought for 25 years. We need our firemen and our policemen with a decent place to operate out of. I have screamed that forever and couldn't get anybody to pay attention. And it's just kept kicked down the road, didn't want to take responsibility, and it's got to be done. And thank God that we've not had a horrible incident in those years that somebody died or something tragic happened because we didn't have our police and our firemen able to do their jobs. Bless their hearts, in spite of what they've had to deal with, and I know the situations, rain soaking everything in the old police department. They had to cover their desk with tarps to keep their equipment from getting wet because they built this Taj Mahal here. That's what it's about. That's what happened. I was here. I was part of that. I couldn't vote because I wasn't a resident. But I worked for the radio station. We covered what was going on. And this right here was the most horrific travesty for this town ever was. And right now, Bo said in the budget meeting, we owe more now on this place than we financed it for. What the heck is wrong with these people? Guys, we got to learn from what the mistakes are. And I want to work with all of you to find a solution for this. It's not that you have to vote on this budget tonight. We've had people ask on ideas and ways that we can work and refine it. By the way, that the 10% cut would bring in $750,000 if you and that's the money that you're proposing for the tax increase. So that might be something worth thinking about. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Anyone next? Yes, sir.
If I may have a
Yes, sir.
couple
Well-
minutes left, please.
No, sir, you've had your 5 minutes.
Sorry?
You've had your 5
No, I
minutes.
only spoke for 2.5.
Sir, I'm sorry, you stepped down. You're finished. Thank you. Anyone next? Yes, sir.
My name's Ben Lutz. I live 1104 Lutz Street in Valdese. Resident my whole life except for 2 years. Actually, my ancestors came over here and were part of the reason we're here today. And this town's grown. It's went through a lot of trials. I've watched it die. When we had theaters, we had books, we had roads at the gold shop because of a mall that built. But council members in the past made good decisions. And it's built back, and then it's, the hosiery mill, it went away because overseas. But the resiliency and the wisdom of the crowd, just like you guys right now, you have hard decisions to make. I don't envy none of you, but we all have I live on the side of town, apparently tonight is not represented, because I have nobody speaking about like our side of town, which is the south side of Crow Hill. And our police department's one of the finest that there is, but it's had its problems before. And with the wisdom of the council, you have made Valdese safer. You've got the sections now where people are not allowed to gather, congregate, camp out, and proactive. That's how you keep the community safe. And we had an incident happen over mine, and most people in here don't have a clue. But back in 2022, I was sick. And the incident occurred in front of my house, and it's not the Valdese Police Department's fault. I'm not blaming nobody. Never hit the news. It might tonight. But in an incident of 30 separate times, somebody come over on Crow Hill, which is very rarely ever patrolled by the Valdese Police. And I'm not talking the Valdese Police. I don't see many police cars over there. We need a department. We need a new building. We've got a great police force. But 3 separate times while I was in a hospital, somebody came over and shot up a house, a drug house. One time emptied an AR-15 into that house, which I have the video with, we gave the Valdese Police Department, that they arrested those individuals with that video. So anything that we can do proactive to help the community, such as say cameras on your houses, not spying on your neighbors, but we gotta all work this thing together. And I build a building, but as far as taxes, nobody's talking about the poor people, like me, that, we do the best we can. There's gonna be a reevaluation of Burke County taxes next year. I don't know where that's going, but with what you're calling for, what you're asking for, and what they're gonna increase, I'm afraid it may exceed 30-something%. That's my concern. What's it gonna boil down to? So there's a community which is not represented here much tonight, because I don't see it, of people that are older, not able to get out of the houses to come to a meeting like this and defend themselves. But you have some hard decisions to make, which I do not envy. Use wisdom. These people that came over, Valdese had a dream. We want our kids and our grandchildren to have a dream. We don't want that dream to be erased because they don't want to move here because the taxes are so blame high. They would rather move to a community and don't have a town. Like that don't have a town budget they gotta worry about. But when you go into whatever you're gonna do here about making decisions, think of the people that are on a fixed income. We're already hurting. We have medical bills. I wished I had a lot of money to make like some of these people apparently do. They just want to say, raise your taxes. That'd be great. But a lot of us don't have that. So think of us people, the people that are not quite as lucky as you are. My ancestors built this town. And most of those people are gone. And what we do from now on, yeah, it's a lot of responsibility. Use wisdom, think about everybody, not just a certain section. Think about everybody. That's what I want. And I thank you for what you did for town of Valdese. I think you're doing a great job. Just think about the big picture too. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Anyone next? Last chance. Okay, with all the comments received on the 26-27 budget public hearing and ordinance adoption, I will now close this public hearing. Council, you've heard all the comments regarding the 26-27 budget hearing and ordinance adoption. Council, what is your preference as to a motion on the agenda? Item A, FY 26-27 budget public hearing and ordinance adoption, including items 8A1, 8A2, 8A3, 8A4, 8A5, and 8A6.
I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to defer the budget adoption until June 22nd.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion?
The reason I'm asking this is because we've heard from several citizens tonight, and myself included, I want a public safety building, and I want to make sure that we move forward with it in the best decision that we can, and a responsible decision. I don't know how we can sit up here tonight to make a decision to push it forward without a guaranteed price, which we're going to get in 2 weeks. I was told between the 1st and the middle of the June that we will have the guaranteed price. Can you put that up there for me? I have something I'd also like to propose. Is there any way to make that bigger? This is a picture of this exact building that we're currently sitting in. This is Town Hall. This is an option that I feel is very relevant that we could potentially use for our police department. This could be done almost immediately. I feel that this would save us potential millions of dollars. We could move Town Hall into the Old Rock School, which is gorgeous and has been recently renovated as well. It has the space for us. This police department could be renovated. I mean, this is just something that I put together. It's a draft. It can be modified, clearly. But this is, I feel, something that is very usable. It's a beautiful building. It's something that is a great landmark for Valdese. I don't know why this building could not be used for our police department currently. We could start renovations almost immediately. This is something that would save us money and also move forward to get our police department moving forward in the direction that they deserve as well. This would also allow us to have a fire department right next door, as we've proposed, but it would not cost nearly what the $10+ million that we're looking at. I know in a town that's 2 miles away, they have a police department that's being currently built for about $4.2 million, and it's 15,000 square feet. I realize that that was a guaranteed price probably over a year ago. However, even if it's $2 million more now, it's going to save us $6 to $7 million if we potentially have this building. I don't know what this building renovation would cost, but I was asked to come up with ideas, and this is my idea. We've discussed in the past that potentially selling this building because we do owe more on it than, really what we initially built it for. So why not use it for the men and women that serve us each and every day and actually this building could be filled with the men and women that serve us each and every day and not be half empty. Also, it would allow us time to not only speak about that opportunity, but I feel that we also need to look at the pay study. I feel just like we spoke about earlier this month, the pay study needs to happen for everyone in the town of Valdese. I feel that each employee is relevant, not just most. I think that every employee that is a hourly employee also needs to be paid for 40 hours, not 35. I don't think that you should give somebody a pay raise and then tell them that 12% of their hours are going to be deducted. That is not fair. These are some of the ideas that I have. Again, I was asked to come up with ideas. I am not asking for any program cuts. I love all the programs that we have. My children love them. My family loves everything that we do in this town as well. So I would just like to have different ideas moving forward, trying to sustain what we currently have. I like everything that we do in this town, but is there a way that we can do something potentially like this to save us millions so that we're not constantly asking our town residents to raise taxes? We know that the 13 cents is going to cover $10 million. That's not what this building is going to cost. It's going to be more than that. We're also relying on the Burke County public taxes to go up next year. We're relying on that, and we have no idea what that's going to look like. So if that does not happen from Burke County, then are we going to be back here again next year, sitting here asking our residents to go up again in taxes? All I'm asking is that we take a couple weeks to look at some other options and see if what the guaranteed price is going to be on the other building, and potentially look at something like what I have presented here tonight. Thank you.
I also agree with Councilwoman Radaball. There are a lot of unknowns, things that we don't know about this building, or the finalized construction costs, the total debt service obligation, the operational costs associated with the facility, the contingency exposure, and the true long-term impact on taxpayers. If we don't have those numbers, when we sat in the meeting with Tron, who are supposed to be who we talked to see what options we have as far as debt service, we were told $10 million. When I ask if this goes above $10 million, if it is $12 million, is it $15 million, I was immediately told we cannot afford it if it is over $10 million. I question why we are not seeing, why we are trying to vote on this before we see that guaranteed cost, which again, we will see in 2 weeks. I don't want to make a decision without seeing what Tryon, our financial advisors, say about it, because we were given numbers for 10 million and not 10.8, 11.2, and all we are asking for is to put that meeting off until June 22nd. It's not a no, it is let us present transparently to the public what this cost is going to be. It's the wise thing to do.
My question would be, what will be the cost to find out the renovation for this building? Number two, what are you going to do to the people that are paying us rent that are in the Rock School presently? Where are we going to move those people? Because we will have to move folks that are presently in the Rock School in order to move our town offices over there.
A couple months ago, I asked how much room there was in Old Rock School, and I was told that there would be plenty of room for Town Hall to move over there. For the full-time people that work here, I was told that and that we could have this meeting in the actual auditorium there.
And I'm sure we can, but we've got people in those offices that would have to move. There's no way.
Please.
But I was told that there is empty rooms.
Why do those people have to?
Ma'am, I'm sorry.
I understand. I want to know why.
I was told that there was empty rooms. That's why I proposed this. I was told that there was empty rooms at Old Rock School, that it's not full.
Okay, then I guess I would ask Manager Harms. Is there room without moving folks?
There are some empty spaces. I do not know what the renovation cost would be to make those spaces usable. There is room there that we looked at it briefly when we was, trying to come up with alternatives. We did not go far as to get an estimated cost of what the renovations would be. Mainly because, and Marissa is here somewhere that may be able to help, I don't know if they're ADA compliant without installing an additional elevator.
Just to touch on the empty spaces that are at the Rock School, those are supplemental spaces that we use for the auditorium. So that's why they're empty, but they're not empty whenever we do major events. So there's only 4 of those spaces currently. So to move town hall, we would have to move people.
So there would be room for 4 offices, or is that something that more than one person could use one of those rooms?
Yeah, they're about 700 square feet apiece. I mean, they're sizable,
Yeah,
but it would impact what you could do in the auditorium. You would definitely need to keep, in my opinion, 2 dressing rooms to support programming in the auditorium. So really, it would only give you 2 spaces without moving others.
I mean, without hiring someone who knows, more about architecture than I do not know what the renovations would be. I do know there's spaces over there, but again, we would have to move at least 1, maybe 2 of the people who currently rent the spaces. Am I fair in saying that?
I would say that if you were to move all of Town Hall to the Rock School, more than likely you would have to move the business stream connections that has the lower level. That way you would have a means of having a drive-through for water bills and payments and things like that. So there would be a lot involved with it. It could be possible.
And could they move upstairs?
They could not, no ma'am. There's not room for them. They have like the whole lower level on the east side.
But we don't need the lower level. You're saying that just because of the drive-through, is that right?
Well, I would say if you want to continue programming like we have now, you would at minimum have to keep the 2 dressing rooms that are upstairs backstage. So that would free up 2 spaces upstairs for offices. And there would be ways to work around some of the spaces that they occupy, but to move everybody, I think that it would take.
But that's approximately 1,400 square feet is what you would have. You said 2 rooms of 700 square feet.
Give or take a little bit, yes.
Okay.
I think, to boil it down, I don't think it's impossible. I think we're kind of being hesitant because we don't want to tell you something that we haven't had a chance and that we haven't really explored yet, if that makes any sense. I don't want to have to come back and be like, yeah, I was wrong. You know what I mean? When I say we looked at it, we walked through it, that was pretty much, at the end of the day, that's pretty much it. We didn't travel down that path too far when we started doing that. There is some excess space over there. There are some on the 3rd floor. We'd have to move out some, I think it's Old Colony players. That's the space I was talking about. We'd have to figure out somehow to make that ADA compliant. I think we can make it happen. The cost to make it happen is the unknown. And in my experience, when you start renovating an old 100-year-old building, it gets pretty costly pretty quickly. I don't want you to come off that I'm for or against it. I'm just saying there's a lot of unknowns that I have.
But I mean, we're putting offices in there. We're not building a police department in there, right?
Yeah,
So
that's correct.
we don't have to put a Sally Port and all that in there.
No,
We're just
ma'am.
putting offices in there, correct?
Yes, ma'am. They just have to be brought up to ADA compliant.
Okay, thank you.
And again, all that I think we are asking is that we defer it to the 22nd, which is a couple of weeks, and it is not saying no. It is saying we would like to be able to be transparent with citizens who are relying on us to make wise choices on their behalf, especially when it comes to their hard-earned dollars.
So what would be the cost of looking at the police department in this building approximately? Because we are gonna have to spend money again if, to look at the police department in this building. I know they are in this building now, but they don't have an evidence room, they don't have an armory, that we don't have a sally port for them, we don't have an interrogation room. So in order to make this building into police department, we will have to renovate. So what would be the cost, even just to start out with getting an architect to look at it?
I will say, when we had DR Reynolds do the walkthrough, they didn't give us anything formal. They just said it would be very expensive. Now, what very expensive means, I do not know. While we would have a guaranteed maximum price by the 22nd, I cannot guarantee we would have what it would cost to renovate this building by the 22nd, or the Old Rock School by the 22nd.
DR Reynolds is also the same company that we're having,
That was chosen by the council to do the design build, yes, ma'am.
that said that that would be very expensive to renovate this building.
Yes.
And this council already entertained that idea, and it was not forwarded. I mean, we voted that idea down to think about this space.
It was
Just
half the
make that
building.
point.
I think it was half the building, it was to still share with Town Hall.
I think it would be a great building for our police officers.
But I agree with, we did vote down 4-1, keeping our police department in this building, and it was Zimmerman, Loman, Ogle, and Ward. I think that was in October of 2025. We did vote that down. That was something that was mentioned.
Because it was being shared with Town Hall, and that's not
Yes,
safe.
yeah, the space was being shared with Town Hall, yes. That is correct.
So this would not be shared at all. This would be just the new Valdese Police Department, right next door to the new fire department, is what
But-
I would propose.
I guess, and I see that. My question is, will we have numbers on June 22nd to give us enough information to make a decision on that?
And what will that cost be?
There's a cost to having DRR to prepare that, on top of them giving us a figure. I mean, I just see a lot more price tags adding into this project or this topic once more. I don't see how this would be resolved by June 22nd, that we'll have firm numbers to know anything differently than we do now.
But June 22nd, we should have the firm number of the proposed building that we've been waiting on. We've been guaranteed that we should have those numbers between the 1st and the middle of June.
And that is what I'm hearing from citizens, is how are you voting on something without knowing the cost? That is 100% of my calls. There's a lot of people in this meeting right now who are telling us to go forward. I get emails, I get texts from people who don't make these meetings because a lot of them work second, third shift jobs, and they're saying, I can't make the meeting, but I want to know what the cost is. So that I'm just standing in for them and saying, we need to defer this till June 22nd.
If the numbers are here on June 22nd, Manager Herms, what is the process, and perhaps this is a vote response, I mean, the time schedule from there to get anything resolved?
So the way we've got it set up right now is not to exceed $10.8 million in loans. We will use funds, and Bo can speak to the exact numbers because I can't remember them off the top of my head. Funds available that we have set aside. We've also got properties that we're planning on selling that would go to this. We've also got a pledge from a private entity that help us raise whatever shortfall that we may have. And they heard that the project had came in over $10 million. They stepped up and said that they would help raise the difference. Now, whether that materializes or not, I can't speak to that. But that's the process in which we're moving forward with. And I don't have the timeline in front of me. Do you have the timeline?
So,
Yes.
timeline with the LGC you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah,
So, I just,
okay.
so we should have the guaranteed maximum price no later than June 15th. We was planning on going to, the banks if, item 888B was approved on June 3rd, and giving them, get, the draft bank RFP. Comments due on bank RFP was June 8th. June 10th was to send the RFP to the banks, the final one. By June 19th, send notice to the Joint Legislative Committee, which is now a requirement. And if I say anything that's wrong, please interrupt me, okay? The bank bids would be due by July 1. We would submit our application on July 7th to the LGC. The week of July 13th, we would distribute draft of approval resolution and loan documents. By July 22nd, comments would be due on that resolution. But by July 24th, we would finalize approval of the resolution. We would distribute the draft closing documents to council by the week of July 27th. August 3rd would be the council meeting, which would approve the resolution pending LGC approval the final day on August the 4th. And August the 11th would be the closing of the loan, not to exceed 10.8 million.
Okay, so I'm gonna kind of put it in the cliff notes for you, there's a lot. So the reason, here's this tight deadline that we're in. So if council waits to do this until June 22nd, and we get the GMP, let's say we get it June 15th. The importance of getting on LGC's agenda for August, if we wait till June 22nd to do all this, I'm afraid that we'll miss that August LGC meeting, which means they won't get us until the September meeting. By that point, that 60-day guaranteed maximum price will have expired. So we run the risk of that price going up on us. That's why the LGC has recommended doing an up to amount, and as well as the debt attorney that's working along with the LGC has recommended that. And that's typically how they do these construction projects. So that's kind of why we're ahead of the curve right now, because we only got that 60-day window between DR Reynolds giving us that price, going out for bank bids, getting the best interest rate we can, and then getting on the LGC agenda, because the LGC is not going to put us on their agenda until council does the resolution saying we're going to go ahead and do this, which is on the next item on the agenda tonight. So we run that risk of just pushing that window out farther and then missing that 60-day window, and then we have to go through this whole thing again with DR Reynolds and getting updated pricing. So that's just something to think about.
So basically, you're saying that it's possible that this delay would cause us to have our price to go up and us to start this process over with the LGC.
I can't say that the price would go up, but it would put us in major jeopardy to miss that 60-day window. If we shortened up the bank proposals, we could possibly shorten that up a little bit, but then we're not going to get the most competitive interest rate if we shorten that window up.
So my question also is, what does Tryon Financial say? Because when we were in our meeting, they never went above 10 million. So I want to know, I mean, I've never seen anything since then. What do they say if it's over? Who's going to pay for that? Because they had 13 cents included in there, and they had the 25% for Burke County next year proposal. What's going to happen then?
Well, that model that First Tryon uses it's a living document. So as things change, we put those numbers in. So right now we've got the 10.8 in that model. for the up to amount. So does that answer your question? I don't
No,
know.
who's gonna pay for, if it's over 10.8 now, instead of the 10, like we talked about in our retreat last month, if it's over the 10.8, are we coming back here and asking
So,
for more taxes next year?
good question. So if it's over 10.8, what First Tryon is recommending is we take that difference, say it's 11.2.
Mhm.
We take that $400,000 difference out of our fund balance reserves to cover that spread.
And that is all part of the LGC application, correct?
Yes, yeah. LGC is aware of that game plan.
And where's the extra $800,000? Because when we talked about it in our retreat, it was 10 million, so it's at 10.8. Are we taking that out of the fund balance as well?
That would be part of the borrowing, if council chooses to do so. That's what the LGC would approve as a borrowing, is up to 10.8. Now, if council says, hey, we only want to borrow 9.5, then we'll take the other part out of the fund balance. But as we heard when First Tryon was going through that model, try to keep our fund balance higher for emergencies. And, yeah, so.
And it's also important to know, after tonight, if we push it back to the 22nd, this doesn't come into play, but if we do it tonight, we are scheduled to bring it back before this council on August the 2nd or 3rd.
So, yeah, August 3rd would be the resolution for council on the bank proposals. August 4th is the LGC meeting, so we're hitting that within a 24-hour period with the LGC. The resolution tonight would signal to them that, yes, let's go ahead and get them on our agenda for the August meeting.
So if we delay, are you saying we may not get on their agenda for the
Correct,
August
because
meeting?
We still have to go out for bank bids, and we can't do that until we know what we're doing as far as the building and the budget. So we can't start that process. This will trigger that process, which in turn would give a bigger window to get to the LGC for that approval. Because they can't approve anything until they know what our borrowing is going to be, as far as what banks are going to propose. It's a very tight window, it is. But we don't want to miss out on that GMP and then have it expire on us. That would be a worst case scenario.
And Bo, I should have asked you this, but I assumed, you know what happens when you assume, but the Tryon model that we went over did not have any additional funds for any properties that we may sell in the next near future included in that, correct?
Correct.
So if we do sell a property for, you know, 350 to 400,000, that model did not include that. That was kind of a buffer that me and Bo had back just in case something was to happen going forward.
Ms. Rattleball, would you restate your motion, if you would, please? You remember?
Restate my motion to defer the budget adoption until June 22nd.
Okay, and it was seconded. We've had a discussion. All in favor? Are we ready for a vote? All in favor, say aye.
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 2. All opposed?
Aye.
Aye. Motion fails. Okay, so now I need a motion from council to approve the budget items that were listed earlier.
I'm going to ask for a roll call vote, please.
No roll call vote. Make a motion. Somebody's going to make a motion?
No, she just asked for a roll call vote, and she asked for that.
We, according to guidelines, we're not using roll call votes.
When, Just, Mr. Mayor, when is it appropriate to have a roll call vote and when is it not? It just seems to go back and forth, so I'm a little.
No, we've, since I've been on this council, we've never used a roll call vote. The instructions are here in the guidelines.
I know
that is
prior-
established.
I was just wondering.
But these are established guidelines. I'm going by exactly what's printed here. I don't have any options here other than what the guidelines express.
Could
Yes.
just so I know, just
Sure.
could we ask the attorney when it is appropriate to do a roll call vote?
Sure.
Because it seems to vacillate.
Yeah, so, I mean, he's got the rules of procedure here. I'd have to pull them out and look at them. I'm happy to do that and give you an answer, but it may take just a minute.
I mean, it would help me to know,
Sure,
because.
yeah. So the rules don't specify specifically that you can have a roll call vote, but it does say that you can, you operate under Robert's Rules of Order. So I think in this scenario, you would probably be fine to have a roll call vote.
Okay, thank you.
All right, super, thank you. All right, so we'll go,
You still need a motion and a second. though.
motion and a second
One way or the other.
to approve the budget.
Are we doing the roll call vote that she asked for?
Well, you're still gonna need a motion and a second before you have a vote.
Correct.
So has there been a motion and a second?
There has not.
But will she want a roll call on the last vote?
No, she wants
No,
a roll
okay.
call on what's coming
Okay.
next, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, so is there a motion
Okay.
before us?
I make a motion that, we approve the 2026 budget as, listed there in parts 1 through 6.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Yeah, you still have.
So discussion, please.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make some comments.
Sure.
I feel confident in making the following statement, that none of us want to pay more in taxes. That's been stated earlier tonight. We don't have to participate or follow social media feeds to convince us otherwise. I have immediate and extended family who have to pay Valdese property taxes who will be affected by a decision to implement the new fire tax. I have to face people in the grocery store and in the church pews who will be affected by this proposal. It's not an easy solution by any means. The only easy piece to this decision comes in recognizing that we must build a new public safety facility for our police and fire services. This need has been recognized by our citizens in the 2024 strategic plan responses, by past councils who put the project in motion, but it's also been past councils who slowed down any progress we were making towards moving it forward. This council has been placed in an ominous and precarious position to make some hard decisions. Yes, but yet that is what we all signed up for when we decided to be servant leaders in this community. Delaying this project any longer may very well result in losing more uniformed officers and firefighters. It certainly will not help us recruit in any capacity in those departments, or others for that matter. It will affect homeowners, businesses, and merchants to keep kicking this can down the road, and I'm dismayed that we're having another consideration of this idea. I do want to live in a community where I have services like trash collection and debris pickup and clean streets and places to go to have fun that improves everyone's quality of life. There is a cost in providing those services, and I recognize that we're going to have to pay for it. An email from a citizen this morning stated a 30% tax increase was excessive and not needed. I would disagree with comments like that and say that this proposed increase with the fire tax is a reset to a tax rate which was cut 30% in 2024. That rate cannot sustain our level of services that citizens need.
By all indication, we are working on building plans that will result in a facility size that will meet the needs of our police and fire departments well into the future. We're working with financial advisors to find the most affordable debt service package that will allow us to move forward on the most financially sensible path. But it's going to take funds that we have to find somewhere, and I think this budget provides. We've cut from all departments. We've looked at pay and identified a path forward in recognizing our workforce and the hard work they provide day in and out. It's not the perfect solution for them, but it has been sliced and diced to give everyone an increase. Are the public safety plans too costly? I believe not. You can see the mock-ups on display in the lobby. We have a metal building versus a brick building. We have stairwells instead of elevators. Project leaders are looking at the programming space and making changes and cuts where they can to keep the building cost as low as possible. We are making the best choices we can to not put an onerous burden on the backs of our residents. It's simply a fact that a building costs are way up at this point in time, and that's what we're facing. So despite what some may think that these decisions are made lightly or without concern and thought, that's simply not true. It's time to stop wringing our hands and avoiding the hard truths. It's time to make the hard decisions that past councils have chosen to ignore because they were hard, to dismiss because it wasn't their idea, to delay for someone else to deal with. It's our turn to deal with it. Let's step up and make this town the best place it can be. And I believe this budget puts us on the path to accomplish that.
I feel we're at a crossroads regarding the safety, stability, and very identity of Valdese. In 2023, during public meetings and a public survey, Valdese citizens named the public safety building at the top of the list for town improvement. This information is part of the Valdese 2024 strategic plan. It's time to support the fire tax to fund the construction of a long overdue public safety building. We also need to provide essential funding for pay raises for our staff. I know that a tax increase is a significant ask. It's not fun for anybody. So I have taken time to research some programs that would provide property tax relief to Burke County residents. There is a program for elderly or disabled exclusion. It says the qualifying owner must be 65 years of age or totally and permanently disabled, and they have to have an income of $38,800 or less, and you are eligible for property relief. The second program is disabled veterans. If you're a disabled veteran, you are eligible for some property tax relief. This benefit also applies to the surviving spouse of a veteran if you have not remarried. The third program, the circuit breaker property tax deferment, goes to people that are at least 65 years of age or someone who is totally and permanently disabled, and the income eligibility limit for this tax relief is between $38,800 and $58,200. Now, the form for these programs is outside the door in the pamphlet area for anybody that's interested. They are due to the Burke County Tax Office on Monday, June the 1st, and I didn't set the date. And you also may call the Burke County Tax Office, and here's the phone number, if you want to hold this up for me. And they're due June 1st. You'll hold that. If anybody wants those numbers, you can call and talk to the Burke County Tax Office and get some information about this. And this is for people that may need some help with their property taxes. So please take advantage of those programs. We must look at the facts in Valdese. In 2023, we lowered the tax rate to 41.5 cents. That rate was too low to sustain our basic town service and far too low to maintain the facilities our police and fire require. We are now paying the price for that delay. Let's look at the conditions our officers and firefighters are facing. Since our public safety building was condemned in 2024, our police department has been operating out of Town Hall, a building never designed for law enforcement. We currently have no armory, no evidence storage room, and no secure sally port. Most shockingly, our officers are currently forced to take suspects to a local church just to conduct an interrogation because we lack a secure room. Furthermore, this arrangement is unfair to our other town staff. We have seen over 30 incidents where town hall employees, people just trying to do their jobs, have been confronted by individuals who are intoxicated, under the influence, or suffering from mental health crisis because they are looking for the police. Our fire department is in no better shape. Our firefighters are sleeping in quarters where truck exhaust rises through the floorboards. They are showering in areas with rusted pipes, unable to properly wash off the carcinogens and contaminants they encounter on the job. We are even seeing truck fluids leaking into stormwater drains because the facility is failing. The office space they are using is in a commercial trailer. Beyond the buildings, we are failing our people. A recent pay study showed that all town employees are paid below market value. Our police and fire departments are over 20% below market value. We have had a vacant position in the fire department since January 2025, a situation almost unheard of in this industry. If we do not act, we will not have departments left to lead. Our employees will leave, and we're going to be forced to hand our safety services over to the county, the Burke County Sheriff's Department, and the local county fire department. Finally, we must talk about the cost of waiting. In 2023, a public safety building on Pineborough Avenue was proposed for $7.9 million. Then a site at Massell Avenue was estimated at $9.2 million. The council then moved to a design-build approach in order to save money and streamline the process. DR Reynolds was hired to lead this approach. Today, DR Reynolds is working on the construction documents, and the public safety building is estimated to cost between $10.8 and $11 million. Every time we delay, the price tag for our taxpayers goes up. Every year we wait, the savings from 2023 are swallowed by inflation and the rising cost of construction. Our backs are against the wall. If we want to recruit business, if we want to be a growing community, we must provide the basic tools of safety. The citizens of Valdese are willing to do what is necessary to ensure our employees are paid and our town is protected. It is time to stop finding excuses. It is time to do the right thing for our officers, our firefighters, our town employees, and our future. It is time to build the public safety facility and pay our town employees what they are worth.
I do hope we will take time in the next couple of days to walk and distribute these to our elderly citizens who are in need, and that we will push that out as much as possible, because unfortunately, many of them aren't online to see that. So I hope we will take that extra step to make sure that they know that there is help available for them. Also, I do wish that this was going to be split into line items, so it's not all as a package, because there is no one up here who doesn't believe that our fire and police are worthy of being paid what they need to be paid. I want to say that first and foremost. However, I cannot accept this budget due to the fact that I do not know the numbers, and the budget ordinance, I can't pass that.
I would agree. I don't know why there's 6 different line items all collectively in the same, why we're voting it all in, so that's very unfortunate. But I will say again that I think that all of our town employees deserve the pay raise, and I mean all of them, not just some of them. So that does include the hourly employees that we are excluding out of getting the full benefit of that pay study. And I want to also include that, just like I put up on the screen, I'm always for our public safety, whether it's our fire department, our police department. They definitely need to have a facility yesterday. That's why I'm trying to come up with ideas so that it's not going to cost each and every one of us more and more every single year. So, thank you.
Any further discussion? If not, there was a motion to approve the proposed 26-27 budget hearing and ordinance adoption. It was seconded. At this time, I'll call for a roll call vote, starting with Ms. Radabaugh.
No.
Mrs. Zimmerman,
Yes.
Ms. Lohman,
Yes.
Mr. Ogle,
Yes.
Ms. Ward.
No.
Motion passes 3-2. Okay, moving on to our 8B, which is our next public hearing, support for financing for a public safety building. I will now call this public hearing to order. Since this is a public hearing, I will declare this meeting open for public comment. Members of the community wishing to speak must approach the lectern, state their name and address for the record, and limit their comments to 5 minutes. All remarks must be addressed directly to the chair, maintain courteous tone, and be confined strictly to the merits of the pending matter. I now welcome the first speaker to step forward.
Glenn Harvey, 801 Michael Avenue, Valdese. The most fundamental thing I have to say about this hearing is that this hearing should not be here. This hearing is about financing a building that we don't know the cost of. But first, it's irresponsible, if not morally reprehensible, to tax citizens for an unknown future expense. In this case, we're talking about tripling the town debt. And I would ask if there's anyone on the council, Mr. Mayor, I would ask if anyone on the council or any citizen ever hired a contractor, as this council has done, to build a home, to build a garage, or even a doghouse, without even meeting the contractor, let alone obtaining an estimate and a final cost before applying for a loan. And the timing for this, for the financing of this project that we don't know what it's going to cost, is completely wrong, because if you're going to apply for a loan for a public safety building, many, if not most, new public safety projects are funded in whole or in part by federal and state grants. Anyone who's delved into the facility grants know these things. One, you must exhaust the search for grants before applying for a loan, if you want a grant. All grants are needs-based. If you already have a loan to fund the project, don't even apply for a grant because you don't need the money. Two, applying for a grant, like applying for a loan, requires a firm cost estimate. We've heard that the staff may receive the final cost in June, something or other, but this council's not even scheduled a meeting until August. And three, there are more grant funds available for fire stations than there are for police stations. Hence, combining them into one building reduced the likelihood of receiving a grant, but it did not necessarily eliminate it. In 2024, some council members and interim manager, Steen, learned these things that I just repeated during meetings with Representative Hugh Blackburn, North Carolina Speaker at the time, Tim Moore, and the legislative assistants to U.S. Senators Tillis and Budd. We were searching for funding for the building planning that was going on at that time. In fact, last year, I think I even heard the former manager of Maiden say, Maiden is a town about the size of Valdese, but it's much wealthier because it has a larger tax base. I think I heard him talk about securing a $5 million grant for a facility in that town, although it eventually cost much more. In summary, it would be irresponsible for this council to encumber us with overwhelming debt without first exploring grants to help pay for it, without even knowing the final cost.
Thank you. Next. Okay, with all comments received on the support for financing a public safety building, I will now close this public hearing. Council, you've heard all the comments regarding support for financing the public safety building. Council, do I have a motion regarding its adoption?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the resolution that supports an application to the LGC for its approval of the town's financing agreement for the public safety facility.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
I would say that we have looked for grants, certainly, as much as possible. The problem in this situation is that Hurricane Helene hit, and all the grants that are available at this time are going to the areas in western North Carolina that had major, major damage. And so at this point, we have not been able to get grants for a fire station or police station because that money is being used up in the areas that Helene did the devastation to.
So is this just basically opening the door at this point to say that staff will go with whatever the contractor says the amount is, and then we'll go and try to get, is that what
No.
we're approving?
No, what you're approving is for us to apply for an application not to exceed 10.8. That's what this, this letter, this support, resolution of support is.
Yeah, so this is, like we said earlier, this is basically telling LGC, yes, we want to go out for, once we get the guaranteed maximum price from DR Reynolds, we want to go out for bank bids. And then at the August 3rd meeting, that's when council will approve another resolution, final resolution for the specific lending proposal and accept that. So there's, this resolution just, this is more of a signal to LGC that we need to get on their radar. And then the last one, August, is that we want to go ahead and get that proposal.
Okay. So I just felt like citizens need to understand
Yeah,
that
there'll
a
be
little
one,
bit.
there'll be one more vote in August.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't
Well,
been
actually,
able to.
it'll be multiple votes, but it'll be in August.
Yeah, we haven't gone out for bank bids yet because we got to get the amount from DR Reynolds. And then once that kicks in, first try on, we'll start soliciting that amount to their contacts.
So if we say 10.8 tonight, because we don't know what that cost is, and we're saying we're gonna ask for 10.8, not to exceed 10.8. If they come back and say it's more than that, is that when, what happens at that point?
So the borrowing itself would be not to exceed 10.8. So if it's more than that, then we would just say, we're gonna pull that from the spread from our fund balance.
Okay, so at that point, it is okay to touch
Yeah.
our fund balance?
Yeah.
Because I know originally we were told, don't try, it was a little confusing with trying, I'll be honest, because they were like, don't do that, borrow the full amount, and then that's what we were hearing as a council, but again, that was $10 million,
Yeah, they
so.
were given different options. You know, there's pros and cons to borrowing the full amount versus putting a large down payment down. So, you know, even if it comes in at 10.4, then that would be the max borrowing we would do. So, we say 10.8, but that just gives a little bit of a buffer in case we need to go a little lower or whatnot.
I somehow feel like this is signaling people that it's okay to just go ahead and push it up to 10.8 as much as possible, but that's.
All right, no further discussions. We've had a motion, a second to approve the financing and support for the public safety building. All in favor, raise your right hand, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Likewise? Motion passes. Item 8C, first hearing, Community Development Block Grant, CDBG. This is moving on to this one. I now call this public hearing to order. Since this is a public hearing, I will now declare this meeting now open to public comment. Members of the community wishing to speak must approach the lectern, state their name and address for the record, and limit their comments to 5 minutes. All remarks must be addressed directly to the chair, maintain courteous tone, and be confined strictly to the merits of the pending matter. I will now welcome the first speaker to step forward.
Hello, good evening,
Yes.
council.
Kyle.
My name's-
Yes, sir. Please. Mr. Case, right?
Yes, my name's Kyle
So-
Case.
Yes, sir. Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. I'm a Community and Economic Development Manager with the Western Piedmont Council of Governments. So we've been working with the town for years on different grant projects. So this, I just wanted to talk real briefly tonight about the CDBG program, Community Development Block Grants. CDBG is a federal funding program through HUD. It comes down through the North Carolina Department of Commerce. Each year, CDBG applications are open generally in the spring. This year is a little different. There are also disaster recovery funds through the CDBG program that are opening up now. So this first public hearing is a requirement for any and all CDBG programs. All programs which could include neighborhood revitalization, economic development, infrastructure, community housing, demolition of publicly dilapidated buildings, and disaster recovery can be applied for using this same public hearing. So this hearing is the first. This is just a general broad hearing to hear public input, saying that the town is interested in possibly applying for any and all of these programs throughout the next 12 months. If the town decides to move forward with any applications, then we would hold a second public hearing at that time to discuss the specifics of a project, budget, details, project details, et cetera. So tonight, we're just here to say, you know, the town's interested in maybe applying for some of these funds in the next 12 months and hear any public input that there might be. I should also note for the record that all CDBG funds must predominantly benefit low and moderate income persons. So we can document that through a variety of ways depending on the program, but all funds go mainly to benefit low to moderate households. And I'm happy to answer any questions if you want before we open it up.
Council? Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyone else from the audience would like to step forward? Okay. With all comments received on the first hearing, Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, I will now close this public hearing. Council, you've heard the comments regarding the first hearing, Community Development Block Grant. Council, what is your pleasure as to a motion?
So is it basically just saying we're going to move forward to a second hearing?
Yes.
Because this is our first hearing. so,
Correct,
I mean,
correct, yes.
About anything, yeah. So, just wanted to make sure that, it's just saying there are things like this that really need to be explained a little better, not only to council, but to citizens. So it doesn't look
Yes.
like we are,
There won't be a second hearing unless we move forward with identifying a project that fits the CDBG scope.
okay,
So this is just basically a hearing to let us apply again for specific projects. So there's a broad application that says, hey, we're interested in your programs. And then we can go forward and say, we would identify certain sections of town that can benefit from the program itself.
so are there certain projects that we are already looking at?
There's a couple that are in the horizon. We haven't got full details yet. They're gonna release that later this summer.
Will the council know about those before the public possibly, or is it just gonna be?
Yeah, there's gonna be certain projects that we'll identify, and then if they match the budget, and if there's a match, that council will need to approve.
Okay.
So those will come before council to approve those in the second hearing, so that's when that will happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this was, I'm sorry.
It's a very
Kyle's more the
complicated,
expert than I am.
it's a very complicated process, but it's, go ahead.
Yeah, I can say too, CDBG, there's no match ever required with those funds, and there's not a vote required tonight. This is just a public input session to hear if there are any comments from the public. If there is a second hearing where we do have an application, then there's an authorizing resolution that'll be required at that time.
But there's no match from us, like if it's for, we don't have to come up with extra money.
Correct.
I just like for citizens to hear that on the
No, yeah.
record. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, yeah. With these funds, there's zero match. So,
Thank you.
Mr. Casey, would you step forward again, please? I guess the question now before you is, do we need to make a motion and approval?
Not tonight.
Not
There's
tonight.
no vote required tonight. Yeah.
Okay, very well. Any other questions from council? Thank you. Thank you. All right, moving on. Item 8D, Valdese Bluffs Development Agreement. This will be the last one. I now call this public hearing to order. Since this is a public hearing, I will now declare this meeting open for public comment. Members of the community wishing to speak must approach the lectern, state their name and address for the record, and limit their comments to 5 minutes. All remarks must be addressed directly to the chair, maintain a courteous tone, and be confined strictly to the merits of the pending matter. I now welcome the first speaker to step forward.
Can somebody talk first about what this hearing's gonna be about? Maybe not. Okay.
So,
Just explain it to our audience.
yeah, so this is a
Thank you.
economic development agreement between us, the county, and a developer for a project called Valdese Bluffs. I think this is the second time it's come before council. I think it came before council a couple years ago with a different developer. I was not part of that one. We did receive a grant to do part of the project, and then the rest will be split between us and the Burke County, and it's estimated to be just shy of $400,000 each. Burke County has already held a public comment period and voted on the development agreement. The 30,000 foot view of this is if it's fully built out, it's gonna be a $49 million in new taxable value. If it's totally built out, it's gonna be 140 new homes. Average home value will be $350,000 each. Minimum requirement of 27 homes must be built within the first 3 years to offset the cost of the sewer lift station. If not, there'll be a penalty of just over $14,400 per home if the target is not met. There's additional penalties if the value of the homes fall below the expected $350,000. It's backed by a deed of trust. It requires progress reports and compliance reviews, and I think that's pretty much sums it up. Have I missed anything, Tim?
No, I think that covers all the material terms.
Yeah.
All right, Mr.
Ma'am.
Harvey, sir.
Glenn Harvey, 801 Michael Avenue, Valdese. I didn't come prepared to speak about this because I remembered everything that Mr. Herm said. There was one thing that I was a little bit confused about, and that was that the $400,000 which Valdese would put up now, I thought I heard it was going to come out of the utility budget from the fees that we charge, and then one of the and I don't know if those fees, well, you don't have to answer, you can't answer. By our rules, you can't answer, but I don't know if those fees are in this budget you just approved or in the next year's budget. If they're in the budget you just approved, that's kind of like that hearing. I feel no point in it if you already got the money budgeted. But anyway, I also want to throw out a little bit of history about a similar project. In 2010, not too long after I came here, I was surprised at learning the town had just committed $2 million to put a substation in for the settings. At the time that happened, I was developing a little subdivision down in Pender County, and I was negotiating with Surf City about how they would put in a sewer substation. But the point is, if there was going to be a substation, a sewer service into those communities that were being annexed into Surf City, the developers were going to pay for it. So I challenged the then town manager, Jeff Morris, about that. And nonetheless, and sure enough, the town put $2 million in that. They got a $2 million loan for, I think it was 40 years, 20 years or 40 years, whatever it is. That $2 million loan, the town still owes $1.5 million on. And you know how many houses have been built in settings? And the settings is a nice lakeside subdivision. The Bluffs is rugged landlocked by Drawn High School, and I don't know what else, but it's landlocked land. The settings has built about 12 houses in 15 years. And this developer is going to build 27 homes. They're going to sell for $350,000 in 3 years. Oh, I've done some building. That ain't going to happen.
Thank you. Anyone next who would like to speak? With all comments received on the Valdese Bluff development, I will now close this public hearing. Council, you've heard all the comments regarding the Valdese Bluff development. Council, what is your preference as to a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the Valdese Bluffs development agreement with the Burke County.
Do we have a second? Second. A second. Discussion?
I do have a quick question. If, let's just say the 27 homes are not built within those 3 years, and I know you mentioned the 14,000, does that money come to Valdese, or does that have to be split between Valdese and Burke County?
So it will be,
Yeah, you can answer. There's a payment to each. Under the agreement, that number, there's 14,000 and some change that would go to the town, and then the same amount, comparable amount goes to the county.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So it's
then-
not split, it's each? Okay.
Each party gets.
Thank you.
and there's also land that backs it up as well on top of the money,
Thank you.
the cash back.
And to Mr. Harvey's question, I didn't think, was this already in the budget? Did we already budget the 400?
So it is part of our capital. I'm scared to say sometimes, but as I understand, it's part of our capital fund balance. Once everything gets, and we get the exact to the penny figure, there'll be a budget amendment that brought,
Yeah, we'll do a capital project ordinance amendment. We've seen those in the past. So what we'll do is we'll recognize the revenues from our contribution, which will come out of the utility fund balance, and then the county's contribution as well. And then on the expenditure side, of balance that will be the construction costs for the rest of that project. So we've got half the project funded right now. This will cover the other half.
So how much is covered so far of the four? Oh,
So the whole project itself is around 1.6 million. So remember, we got about $800,000 grant to cover the first part, and this will finish out the rest of the project doing it this way. So in the August meeting, we'll have a amendment to that project. But yeah, the funds are we're just gonna pull them out of the utility fund balance.
Also in August, there will be an MOU between us and the county as well.
I think my only setback with this is the fact that we are now raising everyone's water 7% this year and following years. And whether that's a lot to everyone up here or not, I think it doesn't fare well for us to be giving money to private developers when we couldn't do anything to help our citizens. So that's where I stand right now with it.
Okay. We have a motion, we have a second on the Valdese Bluff Development Agreement. At this time, we'll take a vote. All in favor, please raise your right hand, say aye.
Aye.
No.
All opposed?
No.
You said aye? Okay, 4-1, motion passes. Okay. What's that? How about we take a 10-minute recess? Comments? Mayor Pro Tem, will you please read the guidelines?
The council shall provide at least one period for public comment per month during a regular meeting unless no regular meeting is held that month. Any individual or group who wishes to address the council shall inform the town clerk any time prior to the start of the meeting and provide their name, address, and subject matter about which they wish to speak. Persons must be present if they wish to address the council. Comments should be limited to 5 minutes per speaker. Open forum is not intended to require council or staff to answer impromptu questions. Speakers will address all comments to the entire council as a whole and not one individual member. Discussions between speakers and the audience will not be permitted. Speakers will maintain decorum at all times. Speakers are expected to be courteous and respectful at all times, regardless of who occupies the council chairs. These guidelines will help ensure that a safe and productive meeting is held, and all those wishing to address the council will be afforded the opportunity.
Thank you. Mr. Glenn Harvey.
Glenn Harvey, 801 Michael Avenue, Valdese. Good evening, Mayor, Council. And your rearrangement of the agenda is the reason I had to sit through 4 hearings, which I could not do silently, I didn't come to apologize for that tonight. I signed up the day after the May 18 council meeting to come and apologize to you and the 4,000 Valdese citizens and viewers who may have been troubled by my outburst at that May 18 meeting. Not to excuse it, but I wish to explain what led to my misbehavior. I moved to Valdese 20 years ago after 25 years of reporting to and serving on boards of directors that follow the parliamentary procedures adopted by all deliberative elected boards. the same procedures that are set forth in Valdese Town Council rules and procedures. The three key absolutes of Robert's Rules of Order are: 1, all comments are addressed to the chair. 2, no member may call out or address another member. 3, the chair is required to ensure that parliamentary procedure is followed and to serve as an impartial moderator during debates. From the beginning of last week's meeting, I was troubled by the violations of impartiality. Then when I saw the mayor turn the chair over to the mayor pro tem, call out and begin criticizing another member, it reopened old wounds. I was reminded of the personal attacks that I had to endure in silence as a councilman, from the person who lost to me, to people whom I had never met, and even the mayor himself and a fellow council member. Last Monday, no longer constrained by being on the council, I was compelled to voice my objection as an offended citizen and loudly. Finally, a point of clarification. When that abuse occurred at the council level, the mayor pro tem was the chair. It was the chair's responsibility to pound the gavel and restore order, not the speaker who shouted at me, not the armed police officers who threatened me. Again, I apologize for my conduct, but may I also respectfully suggest that it behooves all council members, including the mayor and mayor pro tem, who may have been elected 6 or 8 months ago or 5 years ago, to understand and comply with the Robert's Rules of Order. Now, on slide 2, in addition to my apologies, I want to refer to two big elephants. The third elephant is the one that's been hiding in the bushes for about 10 years. At the March 30 council meeting, an alert council member spotted that elephant trying to sneak past the council on the consent agenda. We all know consent agendas are strictly for routine items, right? But regrettably, while the important public health and major financial concerns were brought to light, the elephant in the room was not outed. The elephant in the room is a $2 million oversight by town management and the engineering firm hired to develop 10-year utility plans. The 10-year utility plans were excellent, with this one glaring exception. Even worse than missing it 10 years in a row, they failed to include the cost of that process when applying for Valdese's share of the $21 million North Carolina grant to upgrade the water plant for the Lenore Interconnect. If that cost had been included, Valdese's share of the grant might have been increased to cover the cost of upgrading the fluoridation process, which has been going on since 1979. That was a very costly mistake, maybe a $2 million mistake. And finally, I've been making notes since I got my initial thoughts a little bit shortened and heard some more. If I could, I revised what I'm going to say next. Now, I could have revised this slide. It would be a herd of elephants that were misinformation. The big one was that the town has some kind of a financial problem now because of the 2024 tax cut. Another one was that the salary situation. Everybody loves our town staff and the police. And police do a great job, and they should all be paid more. But that problem happened in 2020. In 2019, the town did a comprehensive pay study, and the consultant recommended $500,000 to bring people up to midpoints. That council, in 2020, only added $270,000, not more than about half of what was recommended. And that's why, even though Valdese has given higher cost of living increases than almost every town around here in the 3 or 4 years since then, our police force and all of our other employees are below the others. So that was there. Now, on the public safety building, just a quick one there. That building was virtually condemned in 2018. 3 different engineering services recommended that that town be shored up because it endangered the employees who were housed there. The council at that time refused to spend
Sir, your time's up.
amount of time.
Yes, sir.
They wouldn't want to violate the rules here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is a consent agenda. Council, please look over the items there.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to recommend that we make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Very well. Is there a second?
Second. Second.
All in favor, please raise your right hand.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you. All right. Moving on to item 11, new business. And hang tight here. Did I miss something? That was on the consent agenda. Yeah. So where? All right. Chief Walton.
Okay, so
Go for it.
I'll keep this shorter than my state of department a couple months ago, but, let's see, so I get the honor of presenting our North Carolina Department of Labor Safety Achievement Awards for the calendar year 2025. So this isn't really something to be taken lightly, like both the silver and the gold awards are pretty stringent to get, especially considering how few employees we have, because a lot of the numbers are based on the number of hours that employees work. So if you have a larger corporation, you could have a couple injuries and still qualify for awards. Us at the town, we're small enough that a lot of times if we have one injury, it knocks us out of either award. So, but I am proud to say that in 2025, all 8 of our departments did receive awards. We had 2 that had silver awards and 6 that got the gold awards. So for the silver award, the days away from work must be at least 50% below the industry average. So for the first year, we have the fire department receiving the first year award for that. We were gold in previous years, but had one minor hiccup last year, so we ended up with a silver. For the 4th consecutive year, we have Public Works.
You're here.
So everybody else received Gold Achievement Awards. So for the Gold Achievement Award, your days away from work as well as your job transfer restriction must be at least 50% below the industry average. So to start off, we have the police department with their 2nd consecutive year at the Gold Award. Next, we have the wastewater department with their 3rd consecutive year receiving the Gold Award. I think Alex ran out
Yep.
earlier. Next,
Still around.
next, we have the recreation department receiving their 4th consecutive Gold Award. Next, we have the water department receiving their 9th consecutive Gold Award. And then next, we have community affairs receiving their 15th consecutive Gold Award. So each 5-year mark, you receive a bigger and bigger plaque for every 5 years, and then you get a name bar or a bar for the rest of the And then lastly, we have the 3rd longest running award in the state, and that goes to the admin department with 38 consecutive years.
Wow.
We forgot to give the fire department a round, so
All right, thank you.
That's all I have this evening.
All right, thanks, Chief.
Can I chime in for 1 second?
Absolutely.
I've been doing this a long time, I've never seen those numbers. So we ought to be very extremely proud of our staff for achieving those top numbers.
Here, here. Okay, moving right along, item 11B, appointments, reappointments to the Vedic Board. The Vedic Nominating Committee has recommended the following appointments, reappointments. Reappointment of Bo Weichel to a 3-year term, and the appointment of Jamie Norton to a 3-year term filling a vacant position. At this time, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to accept these appointments and reappointments to the Vedic Board.
Very well. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Very well. All in favor, please raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. All right. Item 11C, approval ordinance amending section 8-6029, urban archery. Chief Sharp.
Okay, this is asking for approval to amend a section of an ordinance on urban archery. For many years, the town of Valdese has offered an urban archery program to provide hunting opportunities for qualified participants while also managing the local deer population and reduce the potential for deer-related vehicle accidents. The program has been maintained at the town's expense. Over time, however, the amount of land within the town limits that is suitable for safe and effective urban archery has decreased significantly. As a result, the program is no longer able to operate as intended, and its effectiveness is achieving its original goals has been greatly reduced. The town currently incurs annual costs of approximately $750 yearly for mapping costs to administer and maintain the program. Given the limited areas available for participation and the declining effectiveness of the program, these costs are increasingly difficult to justify, monitor, and enforce. In addition, I and other town staff have spoken with several individuals who participated in the program, and based on those discussions, there is a general agreement that under the current circumstances, discontinuing the urban archery program is a reasonable course of action and being suggested to the council to evaluate and reframe the ordinance in front of you. The town will also remain committed to evaluating effective and responsible methods for managing wildlife and ensuring public safety within our community through our animal control officer, as well as North Carolina Wildlife. And I would like to thank our attorney, Mr. Swanson, for helping us put the wording into our new ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. At this time, is there a motion to adopt the attached ordinance amending sections 8-6029 weapons, dangerous missiles?
I make a motion to approve the ordinance revision amending section 8-6029.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, I'm not sure, Mr. Mayor, what Chief Sharp explained it, but I don't understand it. I don't understand what we're doing here. I mean, not to put you on the spot, Chief, but
We have an urban archery program where individuals can go in incorporated city limits and shoot deers during a specific time of the year, as long as it doesn't come too close to too many residences and so many feet of people. Over time, the property that exists in Valdese that you can do that on safely has shrank to like 2 areas in the entire incorporated city limits. So as we look to cut costs in various things, and I know it's only short of $1,000, this is something that we simply don't need. We don't, there's no place to hunt safely with a bow and arrow without putting somebody in danger. So why have the program? Why spend money on it to conduct that business when we're not doing it safely?
That explains it. Thank you,
Okay.
Chief, yes.
Further discussion?
So I just want to make sure there's no archery allowed to take, right? Is that what we're understanding?
Inside the city limits.
Inside the city limits?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Have a motion, I have a second to adopt the ordinance. At this time, I'll take a vote. All in favor, please raise your right hand, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes, thank you. Item 11D, approval of resolution authorizing the sale of real property, ROW Fayette Street, Southwest, Valdese.
All right, it may seem forever ago, but at the March 30th meeting, council approved a resolution to start the upset bid process on this little piece of property on Fayette Street, Southwest. Went through several upset bids. The most recent upset bid we got was not upset within the 10-day window. The offer is for $3,300. The offer is from Pine Bird Development LLC. So this resolution is to authorize the sale of the property.
Mr. Mayor, I know that we need a motion that if we do not want to sell the property,
Very well.
Yeah, and so you can certainly make a motion that way, but I mean, generally, if you don't want to approve something, there's just no motion, no second, and then it automatically fails.
okay.
Yep.
I make a motion that we sell the property to Bomber LLC.
Is there a second?
Did I hear Bo say that it was not within the same, within the time constraints? Is that what I'm understanding? Did you say that? I didn't hear you correctly. Was the bid not within the time constraints? Is that correct?
No, we didn't get
The
another
upset.
upset bid within the 10 days, so this is the final bid that we got.
Oh, I understand. And, sorry.
So if we second, we can have discussion about it, correct?
If we have a second, yes. Seeing none, motion fails. All right, number 12, Town Manager's Report.
All right, sorry, I'm taking notes and turning around. Before I get into what's written, I want to introduce Noelle Johnston. She is our unpaid intern for the summer. If you notice, her grandfather's back there on that wall. I keep on calling her Emma because that's her grandmother's name, but she's doing a summer intern with us as she finishes up her 4-year degree and starts her MPA degree at Appalachian State. So thank you for being here tonight, and hope you have an enjoyable summer with us. We have numerous events scheduled throughout the month of June and July. The event calendar is included in the reading material for your review, and it's also on the website. Our next regular council meeting is scheduled for Monday, August 3rd, 2026, 6 p.m. in this chambers in this town hall. And that's all I have for council tonight.
Thanks, Mr. Herms. All right, item number 13, council comments. We'll start from my left. Any
None.
final comments?
No.
None?
I guess this is just an ad for community tourism that Friday Fun Night starts next week, I believe. So hopefully everybody will participate and enjoy that.
Very well.
I would like to encourage everybody to come out and see our outdoor drama from this day forward, which will start in July and August.
I want to encourage everyone to go to Lakeside Park to see Lost Wages on Sunday. I've heard that that's going to be a fun shindig, so everybody go check that out. That's Sunday afternoon, and I can't remember the time. I wish I was going to be in town to, 3 o'clock. Everybody go check it out.
Super. All right. Super. At this time, we will make a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.